everyone, it's Kristie with AG Takes Over. It is that time. It has been almost a year since I did a comprehensive doll spaces tour, which means all of the doll houses on all of the floors. And I've given like little updates of, this specific area or that specific area in videos, but I haven't done one of these in almost a year, and a lot has changed since that last one. So if you enjoy dollhouse tours, seeing doll spaces, I promise you're in for a treat. Relax, sit back, and if you get some inspiration, great. If you need more information about a specific product or if it looks DIY and you want to know how I did it, just let me know in the comments. Other than that, I'm just going to dive right in. If you enjoy this, there's an entire playlist of dollhouse tours. And also, if you enjoy this, obviously, I would love for you to subscribe and share the video and comment and click notifications and all of those good things. All right, let's go. So coming in this door, if you turn left, you see a poster that we got. And on this little side table is some accessories that go with the American Girl Grand Hotel, the luggage cart or bellhop cart. And right next to that is the American Girl Place Columbus party chair. And then up on this wall, I made this specifically for a tutorial video, so if you missed that and you're interested to know how to make these pegboard doll holders, super easy, super cheap, and I will probably try to link it in the description. But this is not new, but it's new to this location. So I had some different things here, and the diner was over further to my right on some artificial grass, and I just thought it doesn't make any sense. This thing would not be on grass. So the thing that I put in its place also doesn't really belong on grass, but I guess I was more willing to do that, to put it there than this diner. All right. So this is the older diner. Never mind the fact that Melody is in her pajamas working. She showed up on time. She's serving customers. That's all the boss really cares. And there's the jukebox in the back corner. And the bakery case. The wallflower is butterscotch something, if anybody's wondering. And there is Mary Ellen's Airstream right next to the American Girl of Today Weber grill. Weber. Let me know in the comments. Look at these tasty burgers. Okay, and then this tent was actually over on the table where Mary Ellen's diner is, so it makes much more sense to put the Girl of Today tent on the grass, and the chair that goes with it, and the cooler that doesn't go with it, and the fire that doesn't go with it, and some little trees. Like, all this makes sense, right? And then what I'm not so confident about is putting Melody's recording studio. One, because it's on the grass. Two, it's hanging over the edge. I know that this is not ideal. I just am not sure. I could fold this part up and then just turn it. In fact, let me pause and then I'll show you that way, and you can weigh in the comments whether I should just turn it and have it kind of collapsed. All right, so there's what it's going to look like if I collapse it. It's still weird that it's on the outdoor grass, or gosh, indoor grass. Keep messing that up. And I don't like that you can see all of this nonsense through there, but I could easily just put something here and stick it in temporarily. So let me know. That obviously means that it's no longer sticking over the corner or the edge. I'm interested to see people weigh in, and just in case you don't know what's on this side, not much. So that's the other bad news, is that it'll show this side, which is pretty boring. I don't know. I don't know what to do. All right, let's scoot down and see what's under everything. If you have watched all my dollhouse tours, this is not much different. The only thing I did differently was that was in the back corner, and there was a plant here, and I just switched them. But let me get in here and show you. The backdrop thing is all pre-printed And it kind of dictates that the chair is going to have to go in front of that mirror. This is the name of the salon, wordplay for Whirled by Us, Curled by Us. And then the hair washing station is right behind there. So if you wanted to recline the chair all the way, they can get their hair washed. This piece can be flipped around, but you then lose all this counter space. And I have all these fun little things to display, so I'd rather keep the counter space. But there we go. There's the salon. And then we'll move over. I've generally been calling this one the craft room, but right at the moment, Ingrid is in here. So specifically, the craft is sewing right now, and Ingrid came in to get alterations done on her dress. So there's the little pin cushions and scissors and all kinds of fabric and thread and sewing machine and dress forms. Longtime viewers know that this room is kind of the room of requirement. I changed this one up. Everything else, all the rooms are actually permanent rooms, but this one has a very, very boring wallpaper because I wanted it to be something that could kind of serve a whole lot of different functions. And it's been a yoga studio. It has been a like an event room for a Lunar New Year celebration, and then now it's the craft room. And at some point, I'd like to make it a store, whether that's a grocery store or an American Girl store, I'm not sure. Again, weigh in the comments, let me know what fun things you'd like to see me do in this room. And then let me scoot over. Next is Courtney's room, and we don't have Courtney, but we have almost all of her collection. So, and by the way, these lights, yes, I mention it every single time I do a tour. They're so fantastic. They're rechargeable. They can be set to permanently on, permanently off, or motion censored. And they don't provide a ton of light for photography necessarily, but I mean, if the rest of the room is dark, whoops, need to put that back up. If the rest of the room is dark, it's not going to work magic, but lots of little toys and additional things added to her collection. And right now, Zola and Nanea are enjoying her room. And then just to the left of them, if you can see back here, is an Our Generation Jeep that I repainted and customized. And there's like the Vespa style scooter with a sidecar back there. And then more importantly, here is the Our Generation ice cream truck. And then we added the Jenny's ice cream here and the table and the extra Jenny's stuff here. So I feel like that is just as good as the Jenny's truck, if not better, because this one has a little bit more play value for children, a little bit better photography value for adults, and I don't feel the need to buy the Jenny's version because we already had this. All right, so that's everything on the far wall here. Well, it's almost everything. There's something beyond there, but I'm going to wait. There we go. I wanted to wait until I could actually get over here. So this is Leah's hut. I bought the shell super, super cheap, and then I made these two pieces of wood here and covered them with wood grain contact paper so that you didn't have to choose between the bed and the desk. With my version, you get both. But this would be a little bit too tall to put the roof on properly. And there's a piece of that that's broken. So I just either leave it off and they sleep in the open air, or I put it on like it is right now, just resting there. But yeah, all of the things in here are things that didn't come with it. Oh, by the way, if you're watching Joe from AGTV for Life, hold on. Shower head is the one you sent me, and I just haven't hot glued it on yet or super glued it on yet, but I will. We're thinking about selling this at some point, but I need to fix that part first. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to buy it. But because we have Kira's hut and it's not been opened yet, because I don't want both of them open at the same time, I've just figured we would enjoy this one as long as we wanted to, and then we would pass it on. But I'm thinking we're getting close to that. And then right over here, just tucked away in the corner, is the Our Generation hot cocoa stand. And Giselle is in front of it, and I'm going to try to move her out of the way without knocking things over so that you can see this a little better. Now, I put different signs over the little signs there. I put Christmas tree, trees, and or Christmas cafe, trees, and visit Santa Claus, just to personalize it a bit. Lots of really cool stuff in this set. And then it doesn't come with the hot cocoa sign on top of it. I just set that on there. That was from Target's bullseye section. But yeah, this is, I feel like, a cute standalone piece for pictures, but also goes really well if you're already creating like a larger winter scene. Okay, now that actually is everything from the far wall. So I'm going to scoot back and give you an overview of the back wall. All right, so we're going to start right next to that hot cocoa stand in this little retro kitchen. So I'm going to have to move somebody. But this is an older Our Generation kitchen. I think it's so cute. And I forgot to turn the light on in here, but hopefully you can see it well enough. There's a sign. I moved this over a little bit compared to where it was last time. It was in this back corner. And the table was on the right, and now the table's on the left. And I just feel like you can see it a little better. This is in the very corner of the room, and I don't want you to not be able to see when people are sitting and having a little scene, as they're eating something from the kitchen. So, and then I added the rug, which is just the World by Us Community Center rug, flipped over on the less busy side. Because, as you'll see later, I took the rug out of there and moved some of the furniture around in the community center. And then the other changes in this particular dollhouse relate to the bathroom. So the bathtub was over here. This dresser was right here. This one was in the back corner. And the toilet was right where the small dresser is. So lots of things have changed. Nothing really major added or removed. But here's the Our Generation tub. I really like this one. We have an American Girl tub, but I like this one better. And then there's my window. It doesn't have any drapes or window treatment or anything. Maybe that'll be my next thing, is to add something around the edges to kind of trim it out. And then I did make that little paper towel, or the towel holder, with just some hot glue and paper and sticks and stuff, so I'm proud of that. The little rugs. And then I've said it before, but I still haven't done it. I would eventually like to paint the sides, the turquoise part of this, or the blue part of this. But it's not like it clashes, and I think that's why I haven't really prioritized it. All right, the next room is on the second floor. And this is kind of like the dolls' first apartment. Maybe they're still in college. They're like seniors in college. I don't know. They're like 19 years old, and they're living on their own for the first time. And I know I said 19, and then there's some Bud Light in there, but I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they have older friends. There's some of their pictures. Pizza, look, at least it's on a plate. Furniture is just like a crate turned upside down. Candles aren't even on any kind of candle holder. Hopefully nothing catches fire. But this was really meant to feel like kind of sparsely and cheaply decorated because it's their first apartment. And then beside that, and this house makes no sense. One bathroom and all these people who don't know each other living in this place. Maybe it's like a hostel. But here's a little daycare or a nursery. There's a playpen and a crib. And if I can get the light better in here. Here we go. So we've got curtains and some artwork that I printed out and matted. We have 2 of those itty bitty baby or caring for baby high chairs. So we've got one upstairs in the second doll room and then one down here. A little medicine, wipes. There's a diaper bag down here and a tin full of toys. And you can barely see them, but between Oliver's legs you can see a basket and some children's books. It's a bunch of blankets, changing pad, bottle, and 2 of the babies. I like this room. And then the upper part of this, I have just as kind of a workspace, but more like a community center workspace, not like professional, older adults live here or anything. Don't ask me why it's put at July. I obviously forgot to go and change the calendars over the past several months. But I moved this community center, the World by Us Community Center desk, so that it's kind of making an L with Z Yang's desk. It was a little bit further back in this corner and just kind of hard to see. So, some paint, filming and photography supplies, poster board, just kind of a creative space where they can film and edit and take pictures and make posters, do whatever they need to. Got some snacks, a couple comfy chairs. And if anybody has this kind of dollhouse, I would be really interested to know what you have done with this space, because I think it's just a hard space to work with. All right, then the next dollhouse has 3 rooms, and since I'm already standing, we'll just go with the one on the top. It is the Pet Boutique. So I made the walls by covering some, or the wall decorations by covering some foam board in fabric, and I felt like it pulled in all of the colors from the actual Pet Boutique, the teal, the pink, the white, a couple different shades of pink, and then the yellow from the back wall that I picked. So I moved the checkout area to the back corner so that I could bring up these things and have them be a little bit more visible. And then I feel like customers won't be blocking the view of these other, items back here. And the window on the back wall there is showing a PetSmart. I always think that that's funny that I put their competition right across the parking lot. But that's just a picture frame. So keep your eyes out for picture frames that look like windows. They're really smart for your dollhouse. My favorite doll chandelier. This is one of those locker things. So this is, different people are in it, but this is Nikki and Isabel's room. And the only thing I changed furniture-wise was I swapped where the nightstand and the blow-up chair are. But for those of you who are not familiar with it, the bane of my doll life is trying to get these posters to stay on the wall. They're constantly peeling off, and I don't know what to do. I just can't get them to stay on. But here, Isabel has the top bunk. And then if we go down, we can see Nikki's zine and her journal. She's got the bottom bunk. Animal fur all over that. One of our pets got on here, and I didn't even take the fur off. I didn't even roll it because I was like, that's authentic. And then I've got a clock phone. That wasn't here the last time I did a tour. The clock part obviously works. The phone or the alarm part doesn't. And then there's the American Girl of Today karaoke back there under the nightstand. And I don't think I've really added much to the desk. It's just what it comes with. brats weren't around in 1999. Somebody told me last time. That's okay. It can be their room just a couple years into a couple years beyond when American Girl wrote their stories, or the time period when their stories happened. And then the very bottom one is this cafe. And I feel like maybe the juice bar wasn't added in here last time. And I know that these two pieces were on the left wall and this stuff was on the right wall. So I just kind of flipped it, but I also took out that rug, and I feel like it makes it a little bit less busy and somehow feel more open and spacious. So I really like this. I just think the community center pieces and this cafe, all the colors work really, really well together. And then we have Gabriella's backdrop back there, and we already were making this brick. So adding those bricks to the back, just perfect. Perfect. So easy. Every time I do the tour, I'm going to zoom in on that because it will never be not important. This cafe is owned by Kingsley, not by Kingsley, by Kingsley's moms. But Kingsley is one of our Truly Me boys, and his two moms own this. He works here sometimes when he's not at school and not doing other things. But right now, Simone is working. Yeah, love this space. I wish that there were a couple more kind of configurations that would work for it, but the pieces, like the couch, is wide enough that I really have to put it along the side walls, and that kind of limits what I can do. But yeah, I think it looks great. And moving just to the right of that dollhouse is this train table, and underneath it I have all kinds of doll stuff for each holiday. So there's like Day of the Dead and Trick or Treat stuff and Christmas and Spring and Easter and Halloween and lots of things back there, but they're all labeled. And I switched for this these two pieces. So the pastry cart and the seat, or the table and two chairs, just flipped sides. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same. I moved a couple pieces in here around, added a couple of desserts. And if you want to see Grace's collection, Grace Thomas's collection in detail, I did a video really focusing on every single item, outfit, big ticket items, all of it, of her collection, because we have most of it. So if you want to see any of this stuff in more in depth, just go to my channel, and the playlist is called Collection Close-Ups. I also have Melody's and Rebecca's and Julie's and probably somebody else's by now that I'm not remembering. So yeah. And then this is just some contact paper that I got, and I think it works really well. Kind of looks like the front entrance of the bakery anyway. So I picture this bakery is on some kind of cobblestone street. And then the last thing on this wall is Blair's Family Restaurant, but I'm gonna need to scooch over a bit. Okay, lighting is definitely not the best way back here, but there is her restaurant. And this is on some outdoor grass. There's a doll stand there because I usually have a doll there. I absolutely love the entire color palette of this. This bench is like impossible for dolls to sit on. It's useless. There's another one on the other side. They're both useless. But I just love the entire color scheme of it. I love the copper, the green, the purple. It's so pretty. And we bought this pretty much complete. Not new, but pretty much complete. And I've got kind of a seam in the indoor grass right here. That's why I always keep the cart right there. It's kind of covering the seam. It wouldn't look horrible. but it just looks even nicer this way. All right, and on this wall, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I would say 5 big ticket items. So, well, maybe more than that. So if we count this as a big ticket item, which I don't always, but it is the cafe. And when we have the Grand Hotel out, I usually put it right there because the color palette is the exact same. The designs and everything are the exact same, so it's a perfect match. We got this at the benefit sale. It's got the trivia cards. If you've ever been to the American Girl Cafe, it's pretty spot on. It's adorable. And then right behind that are 2 rooms that are Rebecca's. And one of these years, I'm going to do an updated doll tour, and there's going to be wall treatment, and it's going to look so finished, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, Grace did it. But she has not yet. I'm intentionally not doing this space because Grace is very attached, my wife Grace, not Grace Thomas, is very attached to Rebecca's collection, and she wanted a room for Rebecca. And when I was working on this entire doll room down here, I said, hey, I'll do you one better. Rebecca gets 2 rooms. So we've got her phonograph, her couch, her, I forget what it's called, the little table back there, and her carousel, her kittens, her bed. That's not her table, but almost all of this is from her collection. But she just hasn't done anything to the walls or the windows yet, so we'll see. I want her to do it because it's something that she wanted, and I know that she sometimes gets perfection paralysis, but I think she'll be really happy to have done it herself once she does get to it. And then on top of that is Corinne's bedroom, well, Corinne and Gwen's bedroom. And this is massive. Like, I'm having to step back so much. It's huge. And it's a lot of fun. It's a heavy, solid piece. Like, yes, there's a lot of plastic in it. It's American Girl, in this decade. We know it's mostly going to be plastic, but it's still pretty cool. This desk over here, if you're not familiar, also can close up and turn around, and it's a fireplace. It plays songs. The chair's meant to look like a ski lift. They got their cute bunk beds. The bottom one can turn into a couch as well. It's a really cool piece. I do advise people to make sure they have space for it before they buy it. And if you are wanting to see more in-depth reviews of all of the big ticket items that I'm showing you now, I have a separate video, and it talks about size, cost, how much play value, how much photography value, how hard is it to get the item, etc. But I give the dimensions of all of these big ticket items in there, and I think that's really helpful for people. And then the next one is a combo of the hotel and spa that's more recent and still available. And then I had a second Grand Hotel, and I redid it to make it match the hotel and spa. So I didn't want to have to choose between whether I showed this hotel side of the hotel and spa or the hotel room side. And now I have both. And I'll try to get you in a little closer. I don't always know how much detail people want of these. Like, do you want me to zoom in and tell you every single thing, what goes with what, or is this pretty good where you're just getting kind of a rolling through? I'm going to intersperse some still pictures in here too. All right, and then the last 2 pieces before I take you upstairs. And by the way, this time I'm skipping my daughter's dollhouse. I did a tour of it pretty recently, and I don't think I need to do another one right now, but we've got the Our Generation greenhouse. And I'm going to have to put the light down, but I want to be able to move in and show you a little more what it's like. It's got a window that opens out, if I can. does open out, I promise. There we go. It's got a window that opens out, little flower box on the outside, this table that you can move around, and then it has a second table, and I brought it outside of the greenhouse just to kind of make room for 2 dolls and expand the look of this a little bit, and I think that works well. There's a little swinging chair there, and lots of racks to put things. And this one has lights and sounds and little fireflies on the outside. It's cute. It's really cute. And then the last thing is down here at the bottom, the American Girl plane. And I don't think this has much play value. It's cute. I'm just not a fan of, here's one doll in a cross section of part of a plane. Like, it was a weird choice for them to make it, but I've just scooted the luggage down there. The headphones are just laying down. The cart with her food on it, but she's already got her food, so she doesn't need it. And this is Kimmy. Kimmy's got something on her nose. These do open up. Some travel kit in there. I think there's nothing in this one, but we'll check. Oh, a pillow, apparently. Yeah, I think it's a cute set. If any of you are parents and you've gotten this for your child, do they play with it much? Because I don't think our kid would play with it at all. For those of you who know, or for those of you who don't already know, my child doesn't know this room exists. She's 5. It's in the basement. She'll know when she needs to know, but right now she has so many of her own toys to play with, and this is a space that's always clean and always available for me to enjoy and not have to pick up after anybody else. So I'm keeping it this way for quite a while, actually, for as long as I can. And then if you're wondering what's underneath here, not that I suspect you were, but storage, some beds, there's the other hotel, a sewing machine, a fire pit, a swing. I think the ski chalet is back there, and then we'll go check out the other one. All right, underneath this one is the Mars Habitat Tenny Stage, a whole bag full of Halloween costumes, a whole bag full of winter and Christmas clothes, and then the bathtub that I mentioned, and the My Life As shower. Or no, yeah, the My Life As shower. Here's that barn and stable and diner combo thing I mentioned earlier. And then the storage over there is the bowling alley, the convertible, Blair's wedding arch, and I think there's a kayak and a bike. I've got it all in a spreadsheet. That'll probably be a different video, how I remember what is where. All right, so again, we are in the upstairs doll room, and I'm starting with, if you just walked in the door and you turned right, there would be this shelf. Well, there would be all of these dolls along the right-hand wall and some American Girl of Today clothes, but there would be this kind of makeshift, it's not really a bedroom, but we're setting it up with some bedroom kind of things. And then down here are a whole lot of tubs of clothes and accessories. Over here are a whole bunch of earrings. And then on this side, more accessories and clothes. And then the dollhouse. So we'll start on the bottom floor. My daughter and I just redecorated this. So we flipped the entire, let me get down here. The stuff that's in the living room was over there, and the stuff that was in the kitchen and the dining room were over here. So now this is the living room, and we brought up this because my daughter and I switch it out. This dollhouse gets the fireplace during the fall and winter, and it gets the TV stand during the spring and summer. And we decided to decorate this for spring, even though it might snow again. It's Ohio. And And then I changed out the TV. Instead of the American Girl one, I have this from Target. And it's actually got a phone in it. That phone doesn't work, but you can switch it out and put a phone in there and, that does work, and put on whatever program you want. And then here are our couches. This little coffee table is actually a picture frame that's supposed to like hang on your wall and kind of pop out from the wall. And it's really nice because you can change out the fabric or the paper with scrapbook paper and as many times as you want throughout the year and kind of be switching things up for each season. And then there's another one of those locker lights. And then this is not brand new, but still fairly new to us, is this Our Generation pantry, which is a nice compliment. It's shorter than the AG thing, but as long as you put some stuff on the top of it, it ends up looking about the same height. And then we decided to put the island over here. It had been facing kind of this way, and now it's facing this way. But that way you can see both things, just depending on whether you're sitting over here or sitting over there. And the newest addition, which I know I haven't shared yet, is the crock pot. So excited to have a crock pot. I picked it up locally on Facebook Marketplace. We switched out the pictures. The windows are still in the same spot as they were for winter, but now we have spring pictures in there. And then I've mentioned before that this door is something my wife made and that it's made out of foam board. It's not attached anywhere, so we can just pick it up and move it. It was back about here before, and obviously we've moved it over to the side. And the kitchen, just a little eat-in space in the corner there, not a separate dining room. Shout out to Small Batches by B for that tea time art. And again, those picture frames that look like windows come in really, really handy. All you have to do is move the command strips and you can move the windows around. So this nice open floor plan is my favorite. There's the cart and some My Life As and Our Generation items on it, as well as American Girl. These 3 boxes or crates I got from Michael's and just stained them a dark color, and I use those all the time. And our little trash can gets a lot of use. You can't always see that depending on how we set the room up, but it's more visible this time. So, yeah. That is that dollhouse decorated for spring. And then if we move up, trying not to be too jarring in my movements, we've got Angelo's Bakery, aka Claudie's Bakery, and Nellie's working a shift. Pretty much everything in here is American Girl except those brownies. And I followed a tutorial from Michelle's House of Miniatures for those. Not everything in here came with this set, but most of it is American Girl, even if it came with something else. And then this room is pretty recent, a pretty recent addition. And I forget what my total ended up being, something like, $15 or something to do this entire room. I did a separate video about it. It is collapsible. I just wanted to have something like a bedroom without making an official permanent bedroom. So if you want to know how I did that, I will. Again, I'll try to remember to link it in the description. If I forget, just nudge me in the comments. And then that's it as far as like display settings that are like setups. The rest is just dolls over here. And then down on the floor is some of the City Market stuff. And over there is Lila's stable. And then if you want to see storage stuff just for funsies, a whole closet full. And there's a whole other closet in the laundry room full of stuff. So yeah, I am planning on doing an organization video talking about like the physical spaces, like how I organize, but also how I keep track of things on spreadsheets. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this. I thoroughly enjoy dollhouse tours. So if there is something you want to see more of, or something you'd like me to keep in mind next time I film one, just let me know in the comments. I hope that you're doing well and that you set aside some time today to hang out with your dolls and just do things that will bring you joy. All right, take care, and I will be back very soon with another video. Bye.